Hey friends. Today was Annalise's Suzuki Book 1 Violin Recital. And we did it right here at our house. She had some friends over. She had her grandparents over. It was a big event. It was quite a festive day, because then one of Katie's sisters ended up arriving today, which sort of added an element of celebration and holiday feel. Really kind of felt like the holidays started today. And it's really hard to say anything about it that's not just gushing and sort of swooning over how amazing it was to be part of this today. There were a number of things that I wouldn't have anticipated. One was, she had her good friends. She had 3 close friends come and watch, and they sat right down front. I sort of deliberately put cushions right towards the front of our living room, which had kind of a horseshoe shape of seating around the edges, and then her friends kind of sat in the middle, right in front of her on cushions. And we had to take, I think, 4 breaks because she just wanted to go give friends hugs, or a friend would be calling her over and she would hand me her violin and go over and then whisper conspiratorially and then come back and play the next song. It was one of the cutest things I've ever seen in my life. And I could not have been more grateful for these kids, to them and for them, and for the whole space that was held around this event. It was beautiful. Not to mention, she played beautifully, even though she was giggling and kind of making eyes at her friends for many of these songs. I've never seen her play through entire songs while laughing out loud. It was kind of miraculous. See what I mean? All I'm going to be able to do is gush about this. But, I had gone into this. I by the time the last couple days, as we were getting ready, I was like, she's in good shape. She knows the music. There's likely to be, she's going to make a mistake here and there. It's going to be fine. The mistakes don't bother her. I was trying to get her as confident with the material as I could and as she could be, because you want to feel good with your songs. It was a lot of music, about 30 minutes almost of music, and I just wanted her to feel really on top of it. But she bit off a huge amount. She played every song in book 1 of the Suzuki violin books. And then she played 3 songs from book 2 because she's been learning them, and she wanted to play everything she knows on this concert. And so watching her master that and watching her really take it on, and then with some occasional resistance, but by and large with a lot of willingness, watching her practice that much material and have that much material in really pretty impeccable shape. She played through it this morning as our kind of like last run through, and she made almost no mistakes. She played it just really spectacularly. And then on the concert, made maybe a handful of mistakes, but it didn't really, didn't affect her state at all. She was having too much fun, and she was relating to her friends in the audience, and it was just one of the most beautiful things. And I was speaking to one of the parents afterwards, and to have had that be a big performance experience for her, because she's been looking forward to this for months, ever since we put the date on the calendar back in like early September. She's been looking forward to this, and to have it be so joyous, so playful, I was like, just made my heart happy. Because going into it, as the musician, who's kind of her guiding parental music person, I would have, this is the experience I would have wished for her. This is the experience that I would have wished, that it just be playful, that she feel the freedom to be able to hand me her violin and go hug a friend, or go hug all three of her friends, and then come back and keep playing. I couldn't have conceived of that. I wouldn't have known how to plan. I couldn't have planned that. All I could do was be there and just let her run the show, and prepare her as well as I could for that, so that the music was kind of like the stable piece, and then the experience had all kinds of unpredictability to it, but the music was pretty reliable. Something shifted in me just in the last couple days, where it was also when I started to realize, okay, she really knows this material, and she, it was enough music that there's probably going to be a slip here and there, but I realized she was so confident, she knew it so well, that it didn't really matter. Like, the slips were going to be minor, and she'd probably just keep going, and we'd work it out. It wasn't going to be an issue. And I have my own experience of performance, and of making mistakes on stage, and what that feels like, especially in a classical music context. There's so much rigor to that music, and it's, that rigor is kind of a requirement. It's part of the music. It's part of the game. But there's also in the highest expressions of all music, whether classical or otherwise, there's also a straight up playfulness, a kind of like in the moment joy that can put its arms around anything that happens. And I've had that experience on stage, but I've also had the experience of not feeling that on stage, of feeling more afraid of making a mistake, or feeling the kind of like the high bar of the rigor of the music, and sort of letting that set me off a little bit. And I think, obviously, we want to transmit the best of ourselves, whether it's to our students or to our kids. And when I finally got to where I realized that all I really needed to do was make space, create a space for her to play joyously and then take whatever happens in stride and just let whatever happens, because we've had practice sessions where we make mistakes and then laugh, where she'll start, like the other day she did this hilarious thing. Was starting a piece and she started on a note that was like a semitone out, or like a quarter tone out. It was a wrong note, and both of us just burst out laughing. And then she started over again on the right note without either of us saying anything. And when you can have experiences like that, and we can remember that all music, whether it's classical or improvised or whatever it is, that it's being playful. There's a kind of it's an expression of joy. It arises out of love. Then there's no such thing as a mistake. There literally isn't. It's just what happens in the moment as an expression of love. And to have her model that so confidently, so fully, it was just really joyful. So we've been building up to this for a while. It's felt like a big date on the calendar for a long time, and it just ended up being a total fest afterwards. Grandparents were here, auntie came into town, one of her uncles was here. We just had a blast. So tomorrow I fly out of town for a couple days on a retreat. I look forward to reporting from Salt Lake City, Park City, Utah, and entering a new chapter. This day feels like a page turn. So I'm exhausted and so happy to be here. And I'll just want to say for the record to future Annalise, should she ever watch this video, making music with you is one of the great, great joys of my life. And right now, as a 5-year-old, you're teaching me fundamental things about music and music making, even about practice. You're teaching me things. And about performance, you're teaching me things. So what a blessing to share that with my child. That's where I am today, folks. Thanks for watching. I appreciate you. Have a great day. I'll see you tomorrow.